Another odd looking piece of wood. I showed this in a recent video where I turned a piece of Camellia. This was part of the whole root system that I got. It looks a lot like the piece that Phil had when he made his man vase. But our good friend Rav from Second Life of Wood Turning, he says, oh, you should make a winged vase out of this, or a winged bowl. And it's, I guess he's thinking that I should turn a bowl down in this section here. It's pretty small, so I don't really want to cut any of the wood away to even get a tenon. I don't want to shorten these. They're not really on the same level. Hard to mount it, but here's what I'm going to do. Is I just put this block on here. Actually, I had it more like that. I take my height gauge, mark across it. This will make it parallel to the bottom. I've already cut that. I'm going to hot glue this on and then put a screw down in an area where I plan on turning anyways. Then we'll get it chucked up and see what we can do with it. So I will see you when it's on the lathe. Alright, I've got it mounted. It's pretty close. About as close as I can get it doing it this way. And I'm just going to see how it cuts, and I need to get this flattened off, and probably I'd like to get a recess in it. Although a tenon would be a lot easier to do. Just going to lose a little stock, but at this point in time I'm just hoping I can get it turned. Get about 630 RPMs. I'm going to have to take this nice and slow. I think I can get a recess in here, but I'm going to cut as much of it away as I can before I move the tailstock, and then I'll just clean it up. Alright, I'm going to try to take one more light cleanup cut on this, and when I have wings up here like that, it's really hard to get started. Not having much success getting the RPMs I'd like. 760. Well, that's not too bad. A little bit ripply up here. Let's try the negative rig scraper here. It just might be all we need. Okay, that's, I think that's sandable. I doubt if I can sand it under power, but we'll give it a try. Let me get set up for that. Try this with some 80 grit. See if I can sand across this air. I just ordered some new pads. When you're sanding this flies off all the time, you know you need new ones. Yeah, that's really grabbing quite well. I'm going to sand in reverse. sanding way faster than normal because of all this airspace, but it is working. So I'll go ahead and get this sanded up, probably to 400, and then we'll get it flipped around. Alright, I've got it reversed, and I've got the easy side done, and it wasn't easy. Well, you can see what we have now. That's about the center line. All of this is above it, and hardly anything below it. This one's longer than this one. I'm going to have to use a hollowing tool on this. I don't think there's anything else that's going to work for me. So, let's see what happens. Probably the same RPMs. Actually, I've got almost 800 there. Okay, I've got about 5/8 here. I'll get it down to maybe 3/8, and then we'll start cutting deeper. Switch to my smaller hollowing tool. 829 RPMs. And that's pretty consistent right there, and it's actually less than 3/8 now. This thing is cutting quite well, so we're going to stop there. Alright, it's going to be a really slow process, but hopefully we can get it done. I think I'll drill it. Alright, I'm going to drill that about maybe 2 inches down. So I've got about 2.5 inches or so to clean up. I'll do it in stages. Get this, and we'll go down to the smaller hole and get the rest of it. Okay, I have just a little bit down at the bottom to clean up, and we will be ready to sand. I'm using the small carbide insert with a negative rake. That really helps. Let's have a look at that. That's just hard to sand there, so the cleaner I can get it, the better it is. And that really looks nice. So it is time to sand. And here's what I'm going to do. This is a paint roller, and I have sandpaper spray glued onto the end and wrapped around here. And I think I get that going about maybe 500 RPMs. And get the bottom pretty good like that, and I can get where the walls transition into the inside like this. But because of all this air, I don't want to try to do that. So I can use my 2-inch disc and not spin it, but just sand it like that, and that's working good. The lower part of this, I could sand it while it's spinning, but I think it's going to be easier just to sand it all like that. And that should work quite well. It's going to take a little while, and I'll be back when we're done sanding up to 400, and we're going to put some finish on it. See you then. So I spent quite a bit of time sanding this by hand on the inside mostly, and just kind of knocking corners down. I think it's ready for some sanding sealer. I'm going to go with the shellac again, so shellac based sanding sealer, and it's not going to change a lot, this type of wood, but it does bring some life to it. There is a number of cracks in here, and they've been in there for probably years. This is really pretty on this side. Got some color. Then we have this bark, which is just kind of a skin. We'll see what that looks like. Looks like a potato skin is what it looks like. You let me know what you think of that bark and the contrast that it makes with the wood. It's interesting for sure. But I went over that bark with my Sandiflex and got it as clean as I could. I'm not going to show you the inside. It's, like I said, it's a little harder to see, but same thing with the putting the shellac on it. It's going to look just like that. So I'll come back when that's all done, and we'll do something to the base to give it a little better look than that nub I left on there. So I have a narrow block in my chuck. Got some of the padded material. We should be able to slip that on here. Let's see how it runs. The dovetail's real true. I think that's going to work just fine. I can get 700 RPMs without any shaking. Because this is end grain, I'm going to use this little round hollowing tool, and it has a negative rake grind on it, which really helps on end grain. So let's do this here first. Alright, I think that'll do it, and I'll just need to take this out and sand that by hand and try to develop a shape on there. Well, it's done, and I'm really happy about that. For the size of this piece, it was a very difficult turning. To start with, Camellia wood is really hard, That coupled with the fact that I was turning 60% air for at least 2/3 of the turning. So that really makes it difficult. But I think it came out pretty nice, and it has some nice features. I like this little inclusion here, and I like this particular crack. I think that looks good. And the bottom's got a little inclusion in it. I just kind of like it. Here's the bottom. I just rounded that nub over just so it would look a little better. That nub was on there for my center. So I finished it with 2 coats of shellac based sanding sealer and 2 coats of shellac, and that left a really nice smooth finish on it. It stands 5.5 inches tall, and it's 6 inches across. I can't call it a 6-inch diameter because they're not really a full circle up there. So why did I do this? Well, I like a challenge. What am I going to do with it? I might just put it on my computer desk and use it to hold pins. Like I say, it was fun. I like doing these things, but I just picked up some fresh cut English walnut, and I'm talking really fresh. So guess what? The next turning I do is going to be a piece of green wood, and that turns so nice, and it's going to be fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment, I read them all. Hit the notification bell so you'll know when I have a new one out. It would also be great if you could share my videos around. Thanks to all of you who are subscribed to my channel. It means a lot to me. If you're not subscribed, consider doing so. I do many types of turnings, from segmented work to natural turnings from pieces of trees, and I put out videos weekly. Thanks again. Until the next time, see you later.